In our last episode, we played the Death Deck, a game designed to spark conversations about death while everyone is healthy. But what happens when someone is actually facing end of life? How do we have those conversations when time is running out?
Today, we're going to introduce you to the EOL Deck, the End of Life Deck. It's specifically designed for families and caregivers and those healthcare providers to explore what matters most when someone is in their final chapter. It's not meant to be played as a game, but instead, it's a guide to have these questions and answers. And yes, we're going to share some of those questions and answers today from the deck.
Welcome to Thoughtful Planning. I'm Honey.
And I'm Santiago. We help families plan for their life's biggest moments without the feeling of being overwhelmed.
Before we dive in, we want to be sensitive to our listeners. Today, we're reviewing a tool specifically designed for end-of-life conversations. If you or someone you love is currently facing end of life, please take care of yourself and listen when you're ready.
So here's our essential question for today. If someone you love was facing the end of life right now, would you know what truly matters to them in their final days?
As already mentioned, the EOL Deck stands for End of Life Deck. It's a second card tool created by the makers of the Death Deck, and it includes 52 cards designed specifically to facilitate meaningful conversations around end-of-life wishes.
This is different from the Death Deck we played in our last episode. The Death Deck is meant to be used while no one's facing death right now. It's for healthy conversations where there's no real urgency. But the EOL Deck, this is for someone that's actually facing their end of life, whether it's from cancer, heart issues, advanced age, or a terminal diagnosis.
The cards have a casual tone with both multiple choice and open-ended questions. It's designed for 3 groups of people: families who want to understand their loved one's wishes, caregivers supporting someone in their final stage, and healthcare providers like hospice and palliative care teams who need to facilitate these conversations.
What I really appreciate is the guidance that it provides for professionals. The instructions actually recommend previewing the cards first, selecting questions that are best suited for the individual patient or the family that's involved.
Right. So for patients who are less ready to talk about their dying process, they recommend starting with cards that focus on their life and legacy, not jumping straight into those hard medical questions. It's a gentle way in.
So let me tell you about the women behind these decks, because their story matters. The Death Deck and the EOL Deck were created by LoCicero and Lisa Pahl.
Lori lost her husband and mother to cancer. She experienced firsthand what it's like to face the end without having had these conversations beforehand. That unpreparedness, that feeling of not knowing what they would have wanted, that's what drove her to create something to help others.
That's right. And Lisa Pahl is a hospice worker, and she actually was the person who guided Lori through her husband Joe's death. She saw every day in her professional work how families struggle with conversations, because this is a hard topic. And she knew there had to be a better way to help folks.
So together, they created these tools from both personal and professional experience with what it's like to be unprepared at the end. They turned their pain and their expertise into something that can help others avoid that same struggle.
So the EOL Deck is their second creation. It's built specifically for the moments when death is no longer abstract, but it's real and it's approaching quickly.
So let's be clear about something important. These cards are conversation starters. They are tools to help you talk about what matters.
They're not legal documents. So after you have these hard conversations, whether you're using the EOL Deck or the Death Deck, or just talking over coffee, You need to make sure that those wishes that you stated are documented legally.
That means advanced care directives, healthcare proxies, or any other forms appropriate for your circumstance and your state. All the legal documentation that ensures your wishes are followed. The deck helps you figure out what those wishes are, and the legal documents make sure they're honored.
So think of it this way. The EOL deck is for exploration. It's to start the conversation. The legal documents are set up for your protection, and they officially state, this is what I want.
All right, so Santiago and I received our EOL deck last week, and we're going to ask each other questions to give you an idea of how these conversations might unfold. We'll pull 3 cards with multiple choice questions and then one open-ended question.
Now, depending on circumstances, the question would be directed at the person with the terminal illness and not necessarily for everyone to answer. But for the episode today, we're going to exchange our answers together to allow for really deeper ideas to flow.
All right, so let's see here. Ready?
Yep.
All right, here's a question. What is your ideal location to take your last breath? Would it be A, there's no place like home, B, in a well-staffed hospital, or C, a hospice house or similar residential setting?
Well, for me, the more I think about it, of those 3, I would say A, at home, but I would add a caveat that I want to be outside. So if possible, if I'm in a bed or you can get me into a wheelchair, push me outside so I can be in nature. Look at the sky for one last time.
Okay. I'm going to write that down. Right. It's recorded.
Yeah, it's recorded. We got it. How about you?
I think I would want to be in like a house, not our home, but a house like I guess it would be like a hospice house, but like a personal care home that someone might have that we could use a room that I could be in. So maybe it doesn't put a bad feeling in the house. I don't know. That's what I think right now, but I might change that later.
Yeah, that's a change from what you said earlier, because you said earlier you wanted to be at home, but I guess we're changing as we move.
Yes.
Figuring it out.
Yes, and it's okay to change. But of course, like these questions for the EOL deck are like right at the end. So I guess you'll know for sure if you start having these conversations, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, all I know is when I had cancer and those couple of times I thought, while I was admitted, like, I want to be out of here. I didn't want to be in the hospital. So,
Yeah.
for my last moments.
Okay,
right.
I get it.
Oh, my turn?
Your turn.
Okay. So, as you approach the end, what would you like to hear? So, A podcast or inspirational words, your favorite music, or the ocean or some other nature sound?
I think I would like to hear I mean, depending on like the timing of things. Let's say we have right now we don't have any grandkids. But like maybe at the time we would have grandkids, having them around. So I'd like to hear them. And if they're playing, I'd like to hear them playing or singing or doing whatever kids would want to do. I would not want anything to be, everyone to be quiet. I kind of would like life to be happening with me still there hearing and enjoying everybody around me.
Yeah. So for me, staying on that whole outside deal, I like to be outside, maybe listening to nature. There's like birds and stuff, or putting some headphones on, maybe just one, and listen to my favorite songs playing in my ear while I'm taking in what's going on.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. All right. Next question. In your final days, what would you like to smell? A, My favorite foods, fresh baked cookies and coffee. Anyone? B, calming scents like lavender, rose, or sandalwood. Or C, fresh air from an open window.
Okay, so I'm going to stay on the nature kind of deal and say fresh air. I just remember when, again, when I was sick, with a nose like this, I was smelling everything like very vividly. And I had one visitor and she was wearing rose perfume and it just like overwhelmed me. I didn't like it. Um, but, I think a close second would be, you know, throw some mesquite in the fire pit. Let me smell that barbecue smell one last time, maybe something like that. Well, how
Okay.
about you?
I like that C, fresh air kind of smell. But possibly a calming scent like lavender. So maybe, I guess it would just depend on have both of those available to me.
Yeah.
And then I would figure it out, like I said, when time comes.
Imagine it was raining and just smelling that rain for the last time.
Oh, yeah. Or even the smell of fresh grass. That
Yeah.
smells good too.
Except, yeah, I'm not going to cut the grass while you're there. All right.
All right.
Here goes the last one. And this is where we get to talk about a question. So the title is Gratitude. What are you most thankful for today?
Today, I'm thankful for being able to have these conversations, for life, and for the fresh air we have outside, and for my family, and my puppy.
And
And yeah, I'll say that for now, for being able to learn and keep an open mind. Um, I'm thankful for those things.
yeah, for me, I think that I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to meet you and the life that we've lived together. It's not always been easy, but we've made it work. And having the two, you know, kiddos and the dogs that we've had, the boxers are the bomb.
Mhm.
Just the life that we've shared. I think that with everything, that's what I'm most grateful for. Period.
Okay, now you got me almost happy.
Almost
Again,
happy.
here we go.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep things not sappy.
Well, keep it cool.
I'm
All right. Are you okay?
good.
Okay. Let's go.
And to think, I thought that grateful card would be like a good one to start the conversation.
Well, it is. But, when you think about everything, it's, I think that card is just so that you can affirm how you feel to people so they know that, maybe I don't say it enough to the kids that I'm grateful that they're in our lives and I'm so very proud of everything that they've done.
Mhm.
And, because they're amazing. And having, my job working with so many different kiddos, I look at our kids, I'm like, dang, they're all right. Honey did a great job raising them. So
We.
okay. Well, yeah, you pulled a majority of that. But let's get back on topic.
Okay, so sharing these cards, even in this short time, I mean, can bring up a lot of stuff. So lots to talk about, and they actually work. So they're not always just a yes to no question or A B C answer. I mean, maybe it's A and B or C and hey D.
Yeah.
Create my own answer. But they're very helpful to get these conversations started. They help us think about what makes life meaningful and about how you want to be cared for when you're most vulnerable.
And for professionals, especially hospice, palliative care workers, social workers, nurses, it gives you, such a practical tool to really understand your patients and the folks you're working with. We're just not, your patients just aren't a file or a number. They're people and they have wishes, and they, at the end of life, would like certain things. So instead of you trying to figure out how to start these conversations from scratch, you have these nifty little cards. I don't think we showed them the cards, have we?
No.
So this is the EOL deck with a little, it looks like a little panda with a heart for a nose. And they have these ready-made prompts that as you use this more and more, you understand how to lead somebody maybe to get an answer.
Mm-hmm. Very helpful.
I think it would be very helpful.
So the professional guidance offered in the instructions is smart too. So don't throw all 52 cards at someone who's dying. That's way too much. So again, in the instructions, like they said, preview them. You know your patient or who you're caring for. Pick the ones that will fit that particular person, or the family as a whole for that particular moment.
Yeah, I think that with what you said there, if they're still clear of mind, maybe you give them the deck and let them pick the questions they'd like to answer. I don't know. I think I would like to do that because there's some in here that if I were clear of mind, I'd just set aside and really hit the ones that I'd want to discuss with my family and my caregivers that are there. So maybe you start gentle with maybe one or two questions at a time, and then build the conversation up from them. And maybe you answer some of those harder questions. You start with the easy ones, maybe separate them easy, medium, and hard. I don't know. So figure it out.
Yeah. I actually like what you said about giving the person the cards to look at. I mean, I know that's not in the instructions. The instructions are, your patient or who you're caring for. But I can see, again, that goes with, your patient or who you're caring for.
Yeah.
You might know them well enough to know that it might be easier for them to look at the questions first, and, they might be willing to have that conversation. They might pick that question. Okay, let's talk about this right now is what I'm ready for right now.
Yeah.
So
I know
that,
for me, I wouldn't want to be surprised by something and be like, I don't know how to answer this.
but I think too, like just having the person say, if whatever I'm going to ask you, you're not ready for, that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's move to another card. It's not a big deal. So that would be something that they can do.
There's so many ways to approach this.
Yeah, for sure. So now you know about 2 of 3 decks in the series. The Death Deck for when everyone is healthy, clear-minded. The EOL deck for when someone is facing end of life.
And then a third one that we're going to cover in an upcoming episode, the Dementia Deck. That one opens up a dialogue about the kind of care that you would like if you were living with dementia, which I think really deserves a conversation now while everybody is clear of mind, because that's, for me, I think that would be super, super hard, not or trying to live with dementia.
Right. So each deck serves a different moment in life. You can use all 3 with your family or just the one that fits your situation right now.
So if you're going to use the EOL deck with a loved one facing end of life, here's some tips for you.
First, don't wait until the last possible moment, if possible. If someone has been given a terminal diagnosis, start these conversations early while they still have energy and clarity.
And again, we've said this before, but try to make the conversations comfortable. You can have the conversation with some music on in the background, the windows open if it's a nice day. Heck, you might even do it outside.
Right. However the person would like to have it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Third, take breaks. You don't have to get through every card in one sitting. This is exhausting emotional work. So stop when you need to.
Yep. And fourth, make sure you document everything. Write stuff down. After you go through the cards and have that conversation, document what you learned. Keep those notes. That way, when that time comes, you can refer back to your notes. It would be even better if the person allows you to record the conversation so you guys can really focus on what you're doing.
Right. I know sometimes if I'm busy taking notes, I might miss something, or, they might say something and then they'll forget what they said because I was too busy. And yeah, so if you can record, that would be great.
And it might seem like you're disconnected if you're writing everything down and not really listening,
Right.
intently to what they're saying.
Exactly. But ask them first because
Yeah.
they may not want to be recorded. If you're a professional using this tool, create space in your workflow to actually use it. Don't let it sit in a drawer. Make time for these conversations with your patients and families.
You can find the EOL deck at thedeathdeck.com. It's affordable, it's portable, and it could make a real difference between guessing what someone wants and, actually knowing because they've told you.
Right. If you're an end of life doula in hospice, palliative care, or any field where you support people at end of life, this is a tool worth having in your toolkit.
Yeah, I've, when we went through this, I was like, holy smokes, there's some things I hadn't thought of in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having these decks will help us in the long run.
For sure.
So don't forget to follow and hit that subscribe button if you want to hear more of our episodes.
So, yes, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast platform, subscribing means you'll get notified when we release our next episode.
If you have questions, reach out to us at info@legacytoolkit.com.
So let's circle back to our essential question. If someone you love were facing the end of their life right now, would you know what truly matters to them in their final days?
These conversations are never easy, but they're gifts. I mean, really, because you get to hear it from someone's mouth, what they want. Here's how we show up for people when it really matters the most.
All right, so until next time, remember every chapter you write today shapes your legacy tomorrow. Thank you for joining us at Thoughtful Planning.